Welcome to the Game Week 5 episode of Stick to FPL, the premier fantasy league podcast.
Yes, you nailed it. Coming up on today's show.
What on earth went wrong in Game Week 4?
With Game Week 5, you're probably thinking you want to captain Salah, but if you don't have Salah, well, we've got other captain options for you.
You might think you know who's got the best and worst defense, but we'll see what the data thinks.
Are you thinking about wildcarding? Well, we're going to be having a look at the best times to activate that chip.
Differential of the week has not been my forte, but I'm going to make a comeback this week, so make sure you wait till the end.
And of course, we'll have a look at our teams as well and try and recover from an interesting Game Week 4.
Well, some of us don't need to recover. Let's get into it.
Hello, Sim. How are you, my friend? You sounds like you had a slightly better Game Week 4 than me.
I mean, I'm about 10 points up, I think, but it's been the difference between a red arrow and a grey arrow.
It was a rough one, a really rough one for a lot of people. I've seen scores as low as like 15 points, which is crazy. Yeah. Particularly those who didn't have Haaland. I think a lot of people who had Salah at the start of the season have been, doing some damage to people like us who don't have him, in fairness. But this week, it was much more swingy, and I'm not sure anyone really saw it coming to the extent where it did happen.
Whoa, let's not go that far.
Well,
There's been someone banging on about Haaland and Salah don't work for a few weeks. But
yeah, okay.
it was crazy because it wasn't just the fact that Haaland banged and Salah didn't. Basically, all the mid-priced options didn't do anything. And there's no way you'd have Haaland, Salah, and Watkins. Mm-hmm. And people, probably rightly so, got rid of Arsenal defense.
Well,
or they benched it.
Yep.
Which again, I wasn't encouraging.
No, I think to be fair, last week we were kind of mentioning that Arsenal are just, because they are such an elite team and an elite defence, there is not really such thing as a bad fixture defensively for them, and they are capable of keeping clean sheets against anyone. And we did speak about that, in fairness. So fair enough to anyone who held their grounds on Arsenal defenders. But, Sim, I've got in front of me, and I whipped this up earlier, a list of things that went wrong in Game Week 4. And this list is enormous. Like, there are so many things. Are you ready for this? I've probably missed some out as well. So, if there's any ones I've missed out, let us know in the comments, and Sim, jump in if I miss anything. Here we go. All right, brace yourself. João Pedro not in the Brighton squad due to a knock that we had no idea about. Muniz was benched for Fulham. Gvardiol was benched despite the Ake injury, suggesting that Gvardiol was going to be nailed now. Brentford score against Manchester City after, 10 seconds?
22 seconds.
Unbelievable. Wiping out that clean sheet there. Lewis subbed at half-time. Your thoughts on that one?
Okay.
Palace concede 2 pretty silly goals, to be fair.
That's not very surprising.
No.
They've been doing it since Game Week 1.
That's less surprising at this point. Mateta takes the penalty instead of Eze. No one saw that one coming. The amount of penalties Eze's taken with Mateta on the pitch. And suddenly that's...
He bowled it.
Crazy. Liverpool lose 1-0 at home despite their amazing form. And more interestingly, they have the best defensive numbers of any team in the league in Game Week 4. Still managed to get nothing. And to make matters worse, Trent and Robertson, a yellow card each. So 1 pointers for each of those 2 defenders, which is wild. Salah blanks for the first time this season. Fulham lose their clean sheet in the 95th minute.
I love that. I love that so much.
Everton scored 2 against Villa. Don't think anyone saw that one coming. A lot of people bringing in Konsa.
Don't score away from home, do they? But Villa defense, I have been saying that they're not very good.
No, the numbers haven't been good. But people were obviously bringing in Konsa and Pau, and that didn't work out. Palmer also blanks against Bournemouth. And in the same game, Nkunku scores.
That was brilliant.
After everyone sells him, Nkunku scores. Saka gets an assist after pretty much half of the FPL universe sold him for Salah this week as well. So a lot of people selling Isak and Saka for João Pedro, who didn't even play, and Salah, who blanks for the first time this season. Crazy. Arsenal keep a clean sheet after a lot of people sold their defenders, including Gabriel, who scored. And I've got down here finally, Isak subbed at half-time.
Oh, my God.
Due to an eye issue.
Blurry vision.
Yeah.
What's that all? Has he got a concussion?
I'm not sure. I think he took looked like a blow to the nose, and then
I didn't get to watch that game, but like the itch and the temptation to just sell Isak that moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If it wasn't for Champions League, I would have done it.
I tell you what, a lot of people who sold Isak and Isak for João Pedro probably feel a little bit vindicated after Isak subbed at half time. And you know what makes matters worse? A lot of people who had João Pedro in their team got Smith Rowe points from their bench.
Yeah. Oh, I benched Smith Rowe. I forgot about that.
Yep, I benched Smith Rowe as well.
Yeah.
And if I had João Pedro instead of Muniz, instead of that 1 pointer from Muniz, I would have had the beautiful 7 pointer from Smith Rowe. That is so painful.
That is very frustrating.
It's so painful.
That was very frustrating. A lot went wrong this game week. And I'm pretty sure there's more. You forgot about the Jota Diaz debacle.
Oh my word, I did forget about the Jota Diaz debacle. So if anyone didn't see this, Sim, do you want to explain what happened? Because this is wild.
It's like coming up to 60 minutes and Jota and Diaz and McAllister are all getting subbed off. Jota, I didn't see it live, so I'm sort of reaching here. Sprints off to the touchline just so he could get off 7 seconds before the 60th minute.
Yep.
Diaz slowly strolls along with McAllister, and they come off 60.07 or something along those lines.
Honestly.
Jota gets 1 point, Diaz gets 3 points, and you lose out on 2 points as a Jota owner because Jota walks too quickly.
Yep. Just a few seconds of walking off the pitch separated a 1 pointer from Jota and a 3 pointer from Luis Diaz. That is ridiculous.
Those points would have helped.
They really would have helped.
I
this
think that was
week.
a difference between a green and a grey arrow.
Genuinely, probably is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely wild. But I think a big issue with weeks like this is what do you do next when everything goes wrong? You've not really got you've not got much to work with. Like, a lot of people, thinking about wildcarding soon or thinking about using some of those free transfers they've kind of been saving up. But if so much has just gone wrong, can you think of 15 players you would want in a wildcard team?
I mean, aside from the fact that Game Week 5 is such a bad week to wildcard, I would probably not know who I would want in my team. I think I'm still on team one of Salah or Haaland.
Yeah.
Watkins bemuses me because he got loads of chances. He missed a lot more than he should have. And he scored some of the the first one was a good goal in fairness to him, but the second one was sort of quite fortuitous. So I'm not sure if I'm willing to go there. Isak, I'm just done. Havertz is now playing up front, but still could end up playing in midfield because Trossard is playing in a new position now.
Yep.
So that's a bit sort of crazy. And then what? Who's left up front? Am I going for Chris Wood and like Vardy and stuff? Like it's a bit crazy right now. I'd probably give it a game week again to see what's going on. After international break, football tends to be weird anyway.
That's very true.
So I'm not like too stunned. I've got like 3 free transfers, and like I have to kind of work out in my head. I've kind of gone into this weird phase now where I've started to think I have to use all 3 in one goal or role. I'm allowed to use 1 free transfer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'll have 3 again next week. So it's possible that I don't roll this week because I've got my defense is crazy, man.
I know what your team looks like already, so I'm looking forward to actually like going through your team a little bit because I'm so curious as to where your head's at of what you're going to do next. But to be fair, I think it's this is the point. Nobody really knows what to do after that week.
Yeah.
Like, where do we go from here? And something that I like to do when I'm feeling in trouble with my FPL decisions is check out Fantasy Football Hub. The sponsors of this podcast. No, but genuinely, I think when we do have a crazy week, going through the data and trying to just rationalize things a little bit more rather than being reactive to a bunch of crazy stuff that isn't going to happen every week and trying to just bring yourself down to earth a little bit is really, really helpful.
No, it definitely is. And like the thing is, a lot of people are going to be really annoyed about certain players.
Of course.
And you don't have to make a move this week. Like Game Week 6 is such a powerful week to make transfers. So this could be a good week to roll. On the other hand, this could be a good week to make a move. I feel like it gives you like almost someone to bounce off. Like you're thinking this, does the data show that?
Yes.
Thinking this, is the recommended transfer the same thing? it's a really good tool to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, definitely. Just having that second opinion and second, like, it's a sensible voice because there's no bias fed into it. It is all based around data and statistics, particularly the predicted points and the algorithm-based stuff. Yeah, I find it invaluable, particularly on weeks like this. So, guys, if you haven't done so already, do make sure you go check out Fantasy Football Hub. Links in descriptions, link trees, etc. And we're going to be going through some of these numbers and stats that they do provide throughout this show today. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that. And of course, if you do enjoy the podcast as well, guys, make sure you are subscribing, following, rating, all of that good stuff. Leave a comment as well. Say your favourite thing about the show and your least favourite thing. You can't mention my hair and mustache, though. That is not allowed. You have to be nice about those things. But
What about his t-shirt?
I haven't even mentioned the t-shirt. So audio listeners may be unaware, but I am indeed wearing the Arsenal away shirt today. The shirt in which Arsenal just beat Spurs 1-0. So I thought we'd throw it on as celebration.
I'm yet to debut the new Barca shirts. I haven't bought them yet because they need to change the logo.
Okay.
But when I bring that, they are beautiful this season.
The away shirt I really like. Really like. I might get it myself. Should we get one each and wear them together? That'd be cute.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Twinning. Right. Right, let's go to the first topic today, which is going to be captaincy. So what I've got in front of us today is I've got the top six highest predicted points according to the Fantasy Football Hub's predictive top scorers page, because I think that gives us a nice base few players to start discussing. And I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that if you have Salah, you're going to captain him, right? Home against Bournemouth, super obvious. He ghosted a little bit in game week 4, but
He's playing too wide.
yeah, I think Nottingham Forest, we've kind of mentioned them before. They're probably a better defence than a lot of people give them credit for. And we are going to cover that as well today. But if you haven't got Salah, because I don't think we need to talk about that, how many people don't have Salah? Like 60% of managers, including both of us?
Probably.
Who are you
to be fair,
thinking of right now?
Maybe it's picked up. I'll tell you what's really concerning for me. I own one of those 5 players.
Okay, so the top 6 players, according to Fantasy Football Hub, for highest predicted points.
Oh, that's 6. Wow.
In game week 5 is Salah, number 1, with 8.3 predicted points. Haaland, 7.3. Eze, 6.6. Palmer, 6.3. Son, 6.3. And Watkins, 6.2. And outside of that, there is no one with very high predicted points at all.
Really?
It's if we thought last game week was a low scoring one, this one has all of the makings for a low scoring game week.
It's going to be absolutely 100-point season, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how things usually work.
Yeah.
But the big problem is City play against Arsenal. You can't captain Haaland against Arsenal. You mean maybe you can?
I might have to.
Yeah.
My only other option in my team is Jota. In my opinion, off this list, I would not be considering Eze. So rule that out.
Okay.
Assuming that you don't have Salah, you're picking between Haaland, Palmer, or Watkins. I'd be surprised if you own Son. If you do own Son, again, you could consider it. But positionally, I'd be a little bit concerned.
Too wide.
Yeah.
Son is too wide.
Yeah.
Yep.
Son on the left just is never a FPL asset, is he?
Nope.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
Son on the
historically
left
has
on
been.
the Andrews system is never a FPL asset, is he?
Yes.
So that leaves you Palmer, Watkins, and Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
If you own Watkins,
I think you'd feel confident after game week 4.
you'd probably go there. If you own
Home against
Palmer,
Wolves.
I'd probably be considering it a lot more than Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
And if you own Haaland and you don't got anyone else, I mean, you could do worse, innit?
Yeah, well, you can always do worse than Haaland.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we were saying about Arsenal. The best teams, the best players can do anything against anyone. Like Haaland is not, he's not going to struggle against anyone. This is like one of probably the best striker in world football at the moment, on current form, certainly. I don't know why you've skimmed over Eze so much.
I don't think he's a captaincy option.
Well, obviously, now we know he's not on penalties. That does damage him as an FPL asset, of course.
I think even if he owned, if he was on penalties, which he technically still is, the what's the manager? Glasner? What's the manager?
Glasner, Oli
Is it
Glasner.
Glasner? Yeah. He said that both Mateta and Eze are on penalties and they decide on the pitch.
Okay.
So, first of all, Eze just not got that dog in him. He can't pick up the ball. But secondly, even if he was on penalties, I still wouldn't go for him as a captain. He's not a captaincy choice.
So I don't know if I necessarily agree with you there, because I do like this fixture for him, because Manchester United are a team that allow quite a lot of shots, and Eze is a player who likes to take a lot of shots from kind of all kinds of areas. And if kind of defenders are backing off him a little bit and he has an opportunity to unleash, I can definitely see him scoring in that game. I agree he's not got the same potential as like a Salah or a Haaland or a Palmer who can get these 15-plus pointers. Eze has one of them in his locker, but it's very rare, and I wouldn't expect it this game week. But I genuinely don't mind Eze as a captain that much. I really don't mind it.
I mean, my issue with it is, in my opinion, what you said first of all, he's not very explosive. So if he scores, they keep a clean sheet, get some bonus. The most you're looking for is 10.
Yeah.
They probably will concede.
Yeah.
History tells
that
us
would
they
be
would.
10 points without the clean sheet.
Would it be
I
10
think.
without the clean sheet?
Yeah.
So
2 points for playing.
5, 7, 10, yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be 10 without the clean sheet. I don't know. I think you're really hoping that he scores, and I wouldn't be very confident, despite the fact that you're right. He takes a lot of shots, and they give up a lot of shots. He just doesn't take high XG enough chances for me. Like his chances tend to be from outside the box.
Yeah.
Onana has become slightly better at stopping shots, particularly from range. So I'd feel like I'd be gambling too much if I was an Eze. There's like much less likelihood of him returning. Data doesn't say it, apparently, but here we are.
No, data suggests he's the third best captain choice. But I mean, you say about it's a gamble, but you say, the best you can hope for from Eze is like a 10-pointer, right? Haaland, would we expect a brace in the game against Arsenal? Probably not.
You're right. With Haaland, you're probably hoping for 9+.
Yeah. And you'd be happy with, I think in the game week like this, I think you'd be happy with 9-10 points.
Yeah.
And that would be a good captain score this week if you don't own Salah, in which case you might be a bit disappointed by that.
But I'd still punt it, right? If it was Arsenal away, I would almost certainly go for Jota, who I have available. I don't have any of the others available. Even with Haaland at home, I would punt Palmer and Watkins over him.
I think I agree, yeah. Would you consider a transfer to bring in the likes of a Palmer or a Watkins this week? I mean, you've got a couple of free transfers. Is this worth making a few transfers to get that captaincy option in this week?
I am considering making a move for Watkins. I'm just still not. He's giving me more Flopkins vibes than Watkins vibes. I don't know. I didn't like that game for him, even though he scored twice. I didn't like it. But I could do it. But I mean, who'd be surprised if Haaland braced, right?
It's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one for captain this week. But
who would you go for?
Right now, I'm out of this list, I only have Haaland or Eze. So it's got to be one of those two, really, unless I make a transfer. I don't know if I want to make a transfer, though, because it would be for this week only. If I was to buy Watkins, I'd probably want to sell him.
Watkins is quite long term, though. The fixtures are quite good.
The fixtures are quite good, but I want Havertz. And
really?
Yeah, I really.
Game week 6?
Yeah. Really want Havertz in game week 6. And if I do Isak to Watkins, then I'm going to have to then do Watkins to Havertz. Or I just forget about Havertz.
Who's your third? João Pedro?
Muniz. So, yeah, can't really do too much there.
I've got Solanke, so I can make ways for Isak to Watkins and still figure out Solanke to Havertz.
Okay.
But yeah.
Shall I go through a couple of other players slightly lower down the list that might be of interest? So we have got players like Robertson and Trent as potential captains against Bournemouth. If you fancy captain and defender,
I wouldn't do it.
No, we've got the likes of Bowen against Chelsea. Probably not too many people fancying that.
I don't hate that.
No,
I don't hate that. There's worse you could do.
Yeah,
you could go for Eze. That would be worse.
I might be doing that at this rate. We've got Mbermo against Spurs. Like
It's very punty.
it is, yeah.
It's very
yeah.
punty.
Hell yeah, it's punty.
Yeah.
But we're talking. We've got limited options. We're talking in the same regions of like Eze, right?
I think Jota and Diaz are definitely options to consider, depending on how UCL goes.
It's the minutes, man.
Depending on how UCL goes. If they're both benched in UCL, if Jota's benched in UCL, there's about 50% chance that I captain him.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And I may end up going the same place myself. And I think, to be fair, probably a lot of people actually will be selling Jota. It's an interesting one. You think you're going to captain Jota?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I am.
I still don't know. I'm just going to wait till the last minute and make a pretty much gut decision, maybe based on what transfers I make, to be totally honest. So
I feel like Champions League will be a little bit telling.
Yeah, for sure. Which starts tonight as this podcast goes out.
Does it? Is it a good fixture on tonight?
Well, I don't know because it's technically not tonight because we're recording the night before. Let's move on.
Is it Tuesday?
Right. It's Tuesday for everyone listening and watching. Right. Top 10 defences. Let's talk some defences here. And what I've got today is a list of defences ordered by your favourite stat sim, non-penalty expected goals against so far this season. NPXGA.
Banned.
5 letters. What an acronym. So Liverpool sit on top after 4 game weeks. And by the way, guys, it's 4 game weeks, so this data is not like conclusive, but we can use it a little bit as a guide. Liverpool have been good defensively, and they were good again in game week 4.
Yeah,
kind of unfortunate.
It was a bit of a worldie that they conceded.
Really good goal from Hudson-Odoi from outside the box. Really nice. Whipped one. But yeah, Liverpool still looking very solid. People will be thinking about selling their Liverpool defenders for Arsenal defenders. I have no doubt about that. But the data's actually suggesting maybe not, because
selling a Liverpool defender for an Arsenal defender is a bit crazy.
People were doing the opposite last week.
I know.
But you know how reactive people are?
Like, come on.
They are. I've seen people talking about it.
Even the City fixture aside, like, assuming we were in game week 6 right now.
Yeah.
Still, come on. Liverpool have kept a clean sheet in every game.
I'm going to have a look at, like, the highest transfers in this week, and I bet Arsenal defenders are on the up and out is Liverpool defenders.
Listen, people are... Yeah, sometimes you just have to trust the player that you have.
Yeah.
And you have to just breathe in and out.
Take a breath.
Inhale.
So, yeah, Gabriel is the third most transferred in defender, and transfers out, we've got Trent in third. So
who's one for each?
Gvardiol is... Oh, wait, okay. Let's go in. It's Aina after keeping a clean sheet against...
I'm thinking about buying Aina.
Are you actually? Yeah. Delict, which is no surprise because Man United attacks. Whenever a Man United player scores well, they're always very, very popular. And then Gabriel. And then out among defenders, Gvardiol is first because obviously he's blanked 3 times in a row now. I think Gvardiol has to be considered one of the most unfortunate FPL picks of the... Don't look at me like that.
Unfortunate?
Yeah, I think he has been super unlucky.
Why?
Because obviously he kept a clean sheet in game week 1. Game week 2 and 3, City conceded next to 0 chances in those games. So unlucky not to get clean sheets there. And in game week 4, it's the most random benching. And he comes on at halftime anyway. It also been creating a couple of chances as well.
But is that random though? Was that benching random?
With Pep Guardiola, it's always random. No one can predict what he's doing, but maybe that's half the problem. You can predict. Why you got Rico Lewis in your team then if you knew he was going to get subbed at half time?
No. I can tell you who starts. I can't tell you what happens in the game.
Oh, okay. Sounds a bit of a cop-out to me.
I don't have, that level of connection. I need to get a higher rank.
Okay.
In the Pep reading ology.
Okay.
But no, come on. Like, my whole concept with why Gvardiol was less nailed than Rico Lewis was because of just that, right? It was the position that he plays could be filled by any of the other defenders that they've got.
Yeah, but mostly Ake. He was the big contender for that
Ake
spot.
was definitely a huge contender. So, I also thought it's much less likely for Gvardiol to get rotated. But it wasn't like... During the international break, when Ake actually got injured, people were saying, okay, Gvardiol's really nailed.
Yeah.
And I was like, we just saw Rico Lewis play left back for England.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So it's tricky. It's tricky. I think with Pep, you never know. You never know. But I think once, like, I'm worried about Rico Lewis moving forward now because the tactics changed.
Yeah.
And when that happens, then it's like it's free for all now. Nobody knows what's going to happen in Game Week 5.
Rodri and Foden should be getting more minutes, you would imagine, from Game Week 5 as well, right?
Yeah. Rodri just has to start for Game Week 5. I don't know how.
Yeah.
How has he started for Spain before he started for Man City this season?
Mad. Absolutely mad. Started for Spain again after playing for Spain in the summer. A few weeks off from Man City, and he's back for Spain. And
But no, you're right. With Man City, obviously they're a good defense. So Gvardiol has been unlucky in that sense. But I don't feel like I've lost out on attacking returns. I don't feel unlucky that I didn't get attacking returns because he hasn't really done much to make you think he'll get it.
yeah, he put him in a really good chance against West Ham. Really nice cross in. Created a few chances in that game, actually. Obviously, not so much against Brentford, but his attacking numbers seem to be increasing week by week.
Did you see the highlights of the Brentford game?
Yes.
He had one moment where he was through on goal himself.
Yeah.
Whoa, we need this Gvardiol back.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's so tricky to try and say, oh yeah, Gvardiol is a good FPL asset. He shouldn't be the most sold defender in the game this week.
Yeah.
But results, the points are the bottom line, right?
Points matter the most.
Yeah. And he hasn't been getting them last 3 game weeks. But yeah, in terms of the top defences, Liverpool, of course, on top. They've been brilliant defensively this season. Man City in second there with 3.2 non-penalty expected goals against compared to Liverpool's 2.6, which is very, very impressive. Again, Nottingham Forest in third, 3.5 non-penalty expected goals against in 4 games. So
You can't blame the fixtures anymore.
no.
Yeah.
No.
That's a decent defense, man.
Yeah, and people kind of said, oh yeah, Nottingham Forest, they've been doing good defensively so far this season, but when will it slip? Their numbers were good last season. They just conceded a lot of silly goals, and I think they've really improved. I mean, they've only conceded 2 goals this season. That's really impressive. So maybe they're, when we go back to, like, I don't know, maybe this is a bit harsh, but like Everton's and Sheffield United's and teams that aren't typically considered the top teams, but can compete with the top teams in terms of keeping the ball out of the back of the net. Are Nottingham Forest that team this season? Maybe it's a little early to say, but you mentioned earlier you're thinking about Aina. Don't blame you. Don't blame you at all.
Yeah, definitely on my mind at the moment. The fixtures, again, aren't brilliant, but there's no way that you can look at the moment and see, like, great fixtures, great defense, unless you're going for, like, a Trent or something.
True.
So, yeah, I'm very interested in Nottingham Forest. The data is backing up what we're seeing, I think. And I think ever since Nuno came in, they've just looked a little bit more assured.
Yeah.
So I like that. And hopefully it's the good Nuno,
Yeah, not the bad Nuno.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's kind of like a whole bunch of teams around the same kind of level. So Chelsea, Aston Villa, Fulham, Brighton, Spurs, Manchester United, and Arsenal in 10th for non-penalty expected goals against. Are Arsenal actually as good defensively as they were last season? So far, they haven't been.
Well, this is why Raya is so goated at the moment in FPL, right? You've conceded 1 goal and you've conceded 4.6 non-penalty goals.
Yeah, so they're conceding a whole bunch of chances, and Raya is just saving them all.
Yeah.
In fairness, teams have missed some big chances against them as well. My mind instantly goes to that Ollie Watkins pretty much open net that was missed against Arsenal. So maybe that's like an anomaly in the data, or maybe it's Arsenal have been a bit fortunate to keep as many clean sheets as they have. But I certainly wouldn't be knee-jerking to Arsenal defenders for this game against City.
Yeah.
But I still do believe they can keep clean sheets against anyone.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting. Again, just sliding back to that captaincy conversation, right? Maybe this is why Haaland is so highly ranked for game week 5 as a captain option.
Yeah.
By the Hub AI. Because seeing 4.6 non-penalty goals and assuming Man City can do some damage.
Well, I will stop you there because it does also take into account previous season data as well. So that is factored in as well.
Okay.
But what you're saying does make sense. But I mean, I think if you are looking at Captain Haaland, I think you can maybe take some, I don't know, some confidence from this stat that Arsenal have conceded, well, should have conceded 4.6 goals so far this season.
Yeah.
Because against Haaland's not going to be missing those open goals, not in his current form. No way. So if he gets chances, maybe he does a little bit more damage than some of the teams that have faced Arsenal so far.
Yeah. He's in a bit of a goal drought, though.
Haaland,
58 minutes.
58 minutes without scoring.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
What's that all about? how are you scoring 2 goals in the first 30 and not getting a hat-trick? Come on, man.
He's got to bounce back, man. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking from him.
He needs to build some form in the Champions League.
Yeah. By the way, just a quick note on that. How ridiculous is it that he scored nine goals in 4 games?
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
I think that's the most anyone has scored in the first 4 Premier League games.
I'm not surprised by that if that is true. I won't fact check it.
Or maybe since 1942 or something.
Okay.
But I mean, in the modern Premier League, that's never happened.
Yeah. Were they playing football in 1942? I thought there might be bigger issues at hand at the time.
They were definitely playing football back then.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, what, in the trenches or out?
They even played football in no man's land once.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very famous story.
Wait, no, wrong war. That was World War One.
Oh, actually, no, you're right.
There was no trenches in World War Two.
Was it not?
No.
Oh. Well, maybe they should have built one. Anyway,
Wouldn't have lasted so long.
I would probably move on from that one. All right, let's go to the bottom 10 defences. So here I think again is maybe you're going to have some surprises here because we see Wolves in 11th place. You would probably expect them to be a little lower, considering they've conceded 11 goals, but they've only conceded 5.2 expected goals conceded, and they've conceded 11.
But they conceded 6 to Chelsea from 2 expected goals in it.
Yeah. Which did some damage there on their numbers. So, Wolves are not as bad, considering their horrible fixtures they've had. Actually haven't been as bad as maybe it seems. Bournemouth kind of middling as well, similar kind of areas to all of these other teams we've just been speaking about. And then we get another little drop-off where we get to around 13th place for defences, where we see Newcastle, Leicester and Crystal Palace in this kind of over 6 expected goals against, which is not so hot. Newcastle...
Crystal Palace are low.
Yeah, no, I did not see that coming at all.
5 million Munoz sat in my team, stinking it up.
And the worrying thing is they're tracking, conceding similar amount of goals to what is expected. So you can't even say they've been unlucky or they've, deserved better. They don't. They just have been conceding chances. They really have. Newcastle, you've not been impressed with this season so far?
Not at all. I think Newcastle have been quite poor. I think Newcastle have been very poor. They were lucky to beat Spurs. They've been lucky any game they put points on the board, to be honest, if I'm very honest with you.
Another win against Wolves.
Did they deserve it?
I don't... Maybe. Who was it? It was Murphy missed a chance in the first half. That would have been an Isak assist, by the way, which is a bit disappointing. I think Gordon hit the post as well. After that, Wolves had more chances than you would hope Wolves would have against Newcastle. But Newcastle just give up a lot of shots, chances.
They should have leveled it right there. And Pope made a just insane save. And I don't know. I'm just not really happy with Newcastle defense. And we mentioned this a couple of weeks earlier about the lack of the important defenders. Like Botman's not there. Cher missed a few games. That's probably why the data is so bad. Right now they've got Hall and Livramento playing fullbacks. How long is that gonna stay? Is Dan Burn gonna go back to the left? Is Kelly gonna come back in? It's so unstable at the back for them. And whilst they've only conceded 3 goals, that goals against figure is scary. Yeah,
they've been fortunate to concede as few as they have. There's no doubt about that. They shouldn't even have a clean sheet on the board. I got a stat for you here. Newcastle have conceded the 3rd amount of shots of any team in the Premier League so far this season. 67 shots conceded.
Wow.
So they're conceding what's that? 14 shots per game.
That's insane.
I don't know if that maths is correct or not, but something like that. Smarter people in the comments can work that one out, I'm sure. But only West Ham and who else was it? Brentford have conceded more shots than Newcastle. So again, we've got some more bad defences so far. Brentford, I think, is maybe a little bit harsh because they've played both City and Liverpool, right?
Yeah, but I don't think they conceded too much XG to see.
It wasn't crazy, but I mean, it's always going to put you at a bit of a disadvantage, isn't it, in these kind of numbers? And similar with Ipswich, who've played both of those teams as well. They've had 8 non-penalty expected goals against. They've conceded 7. So tracking about right, but they've had really tough fixtures so far and managed to keep a clean sheet against Brighton. Southampton have just been terrible. I mean, what is going on there? If you want to talk about clubs, like teams that have just been disappointing, teams to target, surely Southampton.
So they've been the worst. I know Everton and West. I'm surprised by West Ham, but Southampton have been, in my opinion, the worst team in the Premier League.
Yeah,
by some distance.
Agreed.
Like,
they are not up to pace at all.
The quality just looks so bad.
Yeah. And then after that, we've got West Ham and Everton. Everton right at the bottom there, but sort of Southampton, West Ham, Everton. I think kind of similar levels of the expected goals conceded. Obviously, West Ham have only conceded 6. They have kept a clean sheet, but their numbers are dreadful. And again, they did play Man City, so maybe that skews it a little bit. Everton, though, like teams like Everton, like what's the excuse there? Teams like Newcastle have fantastic fixtures. What's the excuse there?
I mean, Everton are a little bit unlucky, though. They conceded 13 goals from only 8.3 non-penalty expected goals against.
Yeah, that has been unlucky to concede that many goals, but they are still bottom of the table. Regardless, so not only unlucky, but they're also the worst.
Yeah.
So far. But yeah, there's certain teams here. It's just like, what is the excuse? Why have you conceded so many goals, so many chances, so many shots so far this season? And are some of these teams that we should be targeting more? You know, Fulham play against Newcastle this week. Should we be, Smith Rowe, is he like a good shout against Newcastle now?
I'm definitely going to start him this time.
Yeah, I think I will as well, to be fair.
Newcastle away from home is one thing I know to target.
Yeah, no, that's completely valid. Right, let's move on for defences. Unless you've got anything else to say on the defences, cool.
I'm a little bit stuck.
You're a little bit stuck
with where to go with my transfers in defence, but we'll get there.
Okay, cool. Right, you wanted to speak a little bit about Arsenal today as well.
Yeah.
Man City in game week 5, 6 and 7 against both Leicester and Southampton at home, which I think, particularly for an attacker, these are phenomenal fixtures. I would really want the double up on Saka and Havertz for these two.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. Arsenal haven't been scoring too much. They haven't really been as free scoring as we've seen them last season.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So, I mean, whilst you're right, Southampton at home, it's captaincy talk. Leicester haven't been that bad.
They haven't been horrible, but, I mean, they have, and they're not like one of the top teams. And a home fixture, Arsenal. I mean, you say they haven't been scoring many goals, and they haven't, but I don't think they've had great fixtures. Played Spurs last week, Brighton before that, Aston Villa, and Wolves game week 1.
That's great fixtures.
It's for
an attacker. Spurs, Brighton, Villa, and Wolves. That's great fixtures.
Man, it's not horrible, but like these, I wouldn't say they're great fixtures. It's not Leicester and Southampton at home.
If you saw that fixture run, would you double up in defence or attack?
Neither.
I'd double up in attack.
Neither.
But no, I think that what I think is most reliable about Arsenal at the moment is the defensive solidity. And I currently have 2 Arsenal players, Raya and Saka. And I think I'm more likely to go for Gabriel than I am at Havertz, but I'm tempted by both.
I would rather go for the attackers for similar reasons. That I think the attackers are reliable because, yes, okay, you can say Arsenal haven't scored many goals, but if you move to a Leicester at home, Southampton at home, these are 4-0 type games. And if the trend continues that all of the goals come from Saka and Havertz, who only need to score 1 goal to get a phenomenal FPL score, these are games where they can get 2 or 3 returns in each of them easily, particularly if they continue to be so talismanic. Is that the word? Talismanic?
Yeah.
In their teams.
For sure.
I feel like there's really high ceilings here, and I think we're going to see some Havertz and Saka 15-point pluses in these 2 games. I'd be disappointed if I didn't get one of them from each of those players over the 2 game weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's coming. And
That's interesting. That.
Whilst I appreciate, your defensive solidity, stability, are they going to be keeping up with those points of those other guys? Are they topped out at 6 points? I mean, Gabriel obviously scored at the weekend. But
David Raya hasn't got, he only got less than 6 once this season.
But if Arsenal are able to be more dominant in attack in these fixtures, then Raya's not going to have as many saves to make. Bonus points are going to be harder to come by for the defenders. And then after that, we've got Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, who I think are all, certainly Newcastle and Chelsea are far better fixtures for attackers than they are defenders. We spoke about Newcastle already, how kind of bad they've been. But again, Arsenal keep clean sheets against anyone, don't they? So who knows?
It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. I think there's a decision to make there. But, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at either. It's just which one do you think will be better?
I think one key thing is in defence, there are decent alternatives in Liverpool defenders. And am I going to say Guardiola? Probably not at this point. But, if you've got 1 or 2 premium slots in your defence, a Trent or a Robertson works just as well as a Gabriel or a Saliba.
But a Watkins and a...
But I don't agree. I don't think a Watkins covers a Havertz.
You don't think Watkins will outscore Havertz?
Not over this period of fixtures, no. No.
That's ludicrous.
Given form. And what about in midfield? Who's going to cover a Saka right now, other than Salah?
No one can cover Saka because he's the best option there, right?
I think so.
But we're not talking about the first up. We're talking about the double up. So Gabriel is almost certainly going to outscore Robertson in between game week 5 and game week 8.
I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, Watkins will I don't know. You've already said you disagree with that, but in my opinion, Watkins is more likely to outscore Havertz.
I don't agree with that either.
Well, fair enough. I guess that's why you're going for Havertz and not Gabriel.
That's why you're coming. But I tell you what, this is what FPL is all about: the difference of opinions when it comes to these things. But yeah, no, I think as long as you're aiming to get 2 or 3 Arsenal players for this run of fixtures, I'd be very worried with 1.
Yeah, of course.
With 0, I wouldn't even be able to turn on the TV to watch the games because you're in very big trouble. Right, let's move on. Can you read that?
I can just about, but I'll be surprised if the viewers can.
Well, thankfully, I don't care about the viewers.
Whoa!
I'm joking. We've got it on the back screen as well.
Oh,
you might be able to read that a little bit better.
When did that happen?
I think James just did it just now.
Oh, he's taking it away. James giveth and James taketh.
So there you go. I've got it on my laptop screen, so I don't need that. But we've got the next run of fixtures. Again, we're on the Fantasy Football Hub fixture ticker, and it's rating the teams really here based on fixture difficulty over this next period of, I'll put 11 game weeks down here. And I think a big reason why a lot of people are thinking about wildcarding in the very near future, most likely 6, is because if you look towards the bottom of this list here, the players that we have a lot of are at the bottom. Liverpool, Newcastle, Fulham. We've all got a couple of Liverpool, maybe even 3. We've all got, not all of us, but a lot of us have got a Isak or a Gordon, or maybe a Burn or a, Hall, whatever. And we've got Fulham there at the bottom. A lot of people have got Muniz and Robinson and Smith Rowe. So that usually signifies that it's a good time to wildcard when a lot of your players are right at the bottom of the fixture ticker. This week you probably get away with Liverpool, Bournemouth, great. Newcastle, Fulham, fine. Fulham versus Newcastle, again, fine. But after that, game week 6, it starts to look very stinky indeed. And on the other hand, after that, we see a lot of teams at the top. You've got Brentford, second best fixtures. We've got Aston Villa, third. We've got Spurs there in 5th, Wolves in 6th. A lot of these players, we don't have too many. Not a lot of people have Brentford players.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have Spurs players. Unless you kept Pedro Porro through the Arsenal fixture. Nobody has Wolves players. I've barely seen any Wolves played in any FPL teams, and you can hardly be surprised there. Even Everton there, up a little bit. West Ham, we haven't really had a chance to speak about Bowen and Kudus too much this season. So there's a lot of play. And after this game week, after 5, Arsenal, we know, fantastic fixtures. So it's a good time for a big change coming up soon, I think, in game week 6. Is there any other times you've thought about maybe hitting the wild card button?
There's not really a clear, distinctive point for you to wildcard following game week 6. I think my thinking is, at the moment, I've got so many free transfers that I can just move the players.
Do it with transfers alone.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same as you, by the way. I've got 2 frees, and I very may well roll this week. And if so, it's like a mini wild card,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So, I mean, of the bottom 5 teams is basically my squad
Yeah.
at the moment, which is a little bit concerning. But I mean, Haaland, it's not like he's going anywhere. So count
No.
him out. That's 7 of my 8 of my 11 are from those bottom 5 teams. So 7 of my 11, not counting Haaland. I've then got Isak and Gordon, which I can get rid of happily. So those will be gone by transfers. ESR, I'm not really that fussed. The fixtures look a bit awful, but then they've got Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Man City away. I can bench him.
Yeah.
Villa, Everton, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Wolves. The fixtures don't actually get difficult until towards the end of the run in game week 13, 14. So ESR is not going anywhere. So now we're down to like 4 players that are in the bottom 5 teams. And then it just stops being a problem, doesn't it? Like the Liverpool guys, Jota, like he can easily go, you know.
Yeah. I'm looking at Jota to Mbermo. I think looks like a nice little move.
Yeah, I can do Gordon.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. So
Would you do that, though?
why not?
Well, I guess Newcastle right down there on the fixture ticker there as well.
Yeah. But again, I wouldn't do it this week, right? In game week 6, that transfer looks a lot better.
Yeah, where Newcastle face City in 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a really nice point to jump off those City players, because you also got Everton away in 7, which obviously is pretty decent. But then we've got Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest, who, as we have discovered, are a pretty good defence now. So you perhaps won't want Isak for that run. Though I think Isak to Havertz makes a lot of sense in 6. I think that makes so much sense as a transfer.
I'd prefer Watkins.
You do.
Look at those fixtures. Wolves at home, Isak away, Ipswich away, United at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Spurs away. That as a block is very good.
I think if you're doing it now, then yes, I'd rather go for Watkins than Havertz. But if you can hold on to Isak for 1 more week, assuming he's fine, if he's not, then yeah, we probably need to have a more serious discussion about that Watkins move. But if he's fine, Fulham is not that bad of a fixture, and just hold out till the City game, and then switch him out.
Well, it's
Bit money in the
interesting.
bank.
I think my take on the wild card at the moment is don't obviously like play it when you need it.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to force it in game week 6. Just depends on what your team is looking like. We saw this week what completely playing the fixtures can do. In theory, obviously most of the time it should work, but I think unless you really need it, I'm not that big on it. I think the wild card is so powerful that it shouldn't be like this is the time that everyone should be using it type of thing. It's more a case of like see how your team develops. And I mean, think about it. If you wildcard in 6, you are not gonna have big changes to your team from now until game week 20.
At the earliest.
At the earliest.
Because a lot of people like to save their second wild card till around like the double game weeks and the blank game weeks.
Exactly. You're looking at like 29, 20, 28, something like that for your second wild card. So like there's nothing wrong with saving your wild card till Christmas.
But I think perhaps both of us are speaking from a position of privilege where we have been able to roll transfers. If people are sitting on 0 transfers, they've got another issue in their team this week that they need to address. And I don't mean selling Gvardiol because he's just been unlucky. But I mean, like, you know, if you've had Kwanzas in your team and Kunkus and all of this stuff, then you might not have those free transfers to make drastic changes in 6. And you say drastic changes. Realistically, there's probably like 2 or 3 transfers that you would need to make.
Well, that's the thing. You shouldn't wildcard if you need to make 2 or 3
Yeah, but
transfers.
there'll be another 5 or 6 transfers that you would very much like to make.
Yeah.
And why hold yourself back from that if that's something you'd like to do?
Yeah. Be free.
Yes.
Play FPL like a goose.
Play FPL like a goose.
Like a goose.
How does it go on?
No, because a goose does what it wants. They fly free. I guess goose don't fly, but they
Yes, they do.
can goose fly?
Yes. This is your analogy.
Okay, well, there you go. Then. Fly like a goose, and that's how you should be playing FPL.
Like a goose. All right. Fly FPL like a goose, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That's your simism of the week.
Fly?
Geese fly, yeah. They very famously are a migrating animal. Like the Canadian geese migrations.
I don't see immigrants I'm not racist.
No, they're not. Do birds count as immigrants?
You're saying migration? I don't know. I don't hear those.
There's some connotations around the word immigrant that migrant doesn't quite have. They're migrants.
What's the difference between an immigrant and a migrant?
There's none.
No, you're right. Now I do remember. The birds fly like flamingos as well. They migrate, don't they?
That one I've never seen a flamingo.
No, now
migrate.
I'm joking. Now I'm joking. Okay, now
No,
I'm
they
joking.
must do.
Because people think I'm being stupid. I'm sure flamingos can't fly.
Why not?
Flamingos can't fly.
I'm doing a Google. Can flamingo? I don't see why they wouldn't be able to. Can flamingos fly? Yes, flamingos can fly at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. They're pretty speedy devils as well. So there you go.
I guess
Flamingos fly.
my bird knowledge is also things to add to the list of things I don't know about.
But to be fair, I've never seen a flamingo fly. I have seen a goose fly. So it's a more understandable blind spot in your knowledge. Speaking of blind spots, should we move on to Isaac? No, probably not. Right, differential of the week. Are you trying? Are you trying on this game?
Semenyo should have scored.
All right, so the differential of the week, game week 4 scores. I mean, to be fair, we both stunk the place out. I chose Minter, you chose Semenyo. I got 2 points, you got 1 point. But I mean, in total, I've got 23 points. And you've got.
You cheated.
No, I didn't
You
cheat.
picked Umbermo against Southampton.
He was under 5% selected. That is the one
He wasn't
stipulation of this
under.
game.
He was 5% selected.
Yeah,
The
and
stipulation is under 5% selected.
5% or under.
Oh, so now it's 5% under.
And by the way, Semenyo, and I checked this, by the time we hit deadline, he was over 5%.
Was I allowed to check Umbermo?
No.
We did our video about a week and a half before deadline. For your Umbermo pick.
Look, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
5% or under at time of recording, this is the rule.
Okay.
If you don't like it,
don't
do you
worry.
want to forfeit?
The season is long.
It needs to be.
The season is long and the days are longer.
Okay.
I will catch you like the road runner gets caught.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, differential pick points so far this season. I've got 23. You've got 5. Let's move on to game week 5. Who are you going for your differential for game week 5?
I literally can't get more than a point a week. I've got 5 points in 4 game weeks.
Yeah.
I got 1 week with 2 good. I have gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin
You're not trying anymore, are you?
up against Leicester away. I think this is a great pick.
To be fair, 2 goals in 2?
2 goals in 2, had 2 huge chances that he missed.
Yeah. That's usually the issue with Calvert-Lewin, to be fair.
He can be prolific when he needs to be.
Okay.
I think Sean Dyche is gonna really put the fear of God into them this week.
Have they picked up a single point so far this season?
No.
They're on 0 points, aren't they?
Bottled it twice.
Yes, 2-0 up both occasions.
Yeah, but they're scoring. That's for sure.
Yeah, what's going on there? Everton used to defend well and not score.
Not score.
Have
Now they're swapped.
they gone into the upside down realm or something like that?
Sean Dyche has been kidnapped
Yeah.
and he's been replaced by
Anti-Sean Dyche. Dyche Sean.
Sean Dyche. Dyche Sean. I like that.
Dawn Scheich.
Dawn Scheich.
Dawn Scheich has been managing Everton.
Dawn Scheich. He's the new.
She. Her name's Dawn.
Dawn Scheich. Brilliant hair.
Yeah, a fantastic barnet.
Yeah, lovely voice.
Yep. Not husky at all.
No.
Like a very sweet voice.
Yeah.
High pitched.
Madonna's legs.
Madonna's legs. Are you saying Sean Dyche doesn't have Madonna's legs?
No, he has Sean Dyche's legs.
Does it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But no, Calvert-Lewin is brilliant, I think. As a differential, I think a lot of people probably should consider, on a serious note, I think people should be considering Calvert-Lewin. The fixtures for Everton,
They're good.
We haven't got our thing up here. Maybe you can go back.
Can I flick it back on screen? There you go.
Everton
Everton are towards the top.
So coming up, they've got let me move the mic before people start shouting at me. Coming up, they've got Leicester away, Crystal Palace at home, Newcastle at home, Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Southampton away, West Ham away, Brentford at home. The next 10, basically, are very good fixtures. The trickiest fixture in there is Newcastle at home.
Yeah, which, as we've discussed, is actually a pretty decent
very
fixture.
good fixture. So, like, I mean, I would, if you're trying to come off at Isaac and you're trying to find some budget, you're trying to come down, you want to make other moves elsewhere. I genuinely think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is someone that people should be considering. Like, aside from like João Pedro, in my opinion, hasn't been as good an option as people thought he would be. His positioning is not good for me. Muniz just is not an option now.
Yeah, absolutely
what's
not.
His name scored the
Jimenez.
the Mexican guy, Jimenez.
Disrespect.
What's
the Mexican guy.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jimenez.
He's not watching, don't worry.
He might be. This is a great show, Dan.
I get good point. Good point.
Excuse me.
Now, I bet there's at least one Premier League player who watches this podcast. Probably
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I hope.
Yes, because we're gassing him up.
But I think he's a really good option. And this particular game week, Leicester away, I mean, Everton aren't renowned for their form away from home, but I think it's the best I can find at the moment. There's not really great options below 5 million. You're gonna come here and show me Foden or something stupid like that. But let's see what you got.
I like Calvert-Lewin. In all jokes aside, I don't mind that. Yeah, pretty decent, pretty decent pick and a good fix. Yeah, I think he could cook. I've also got a forward this week.
Interesting.
I have gone for Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Nice.
Am I allowed him?
You are.
Is that acceptable?
That's nice.
4.2% selected, 7.4 million. I think a lot of people put off by him because of that price tag.
That's very expensive, though.
It is. It's not cheap, but
that's Solanke money.
It is Solanke money. But now that he's going to be taking some penalties, that helps.
It does.
That helps a lot. Like this fixture against Manchester United. Like the fixtures in general for Crystal Palace. We've got Everton in 6 as well, which is pretty good. And then Liverpool in 7, where things get a bit tougher. But yeah, for the next couple of weeks, if you're maybe thinking about a wild card in 7, which I am, like as a short-term punt, I quite like it. So yeah, he's my pick. I think he's just a good player. I think he's really improved, and I think we haven't been speaking about him enough for various reasons, whether that be the Olympics or the price tag. But I don't think that should distract from the fact that he actually is a pretty solid FPL asset.
Mateta, 10 years from now, is going to be streets won't forget.
You're right.
Kind of player.
Yeah.
You know
like
what I mean?
A Barclaysman, but for the current era.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, the streets will have forgot about him, and like I don't know, Beta Thigh, whatever they're going to call him 10 years from now.
Definitely that.
Will not know about Mateta. But we won't forget.
No.
About the 4 goals he scored last season.
Yeah.
You know, the crazy things that he's done. I mean, it's been like probably 20 games that he's been performing that well, but...
Yeah, but that's what makes him such a cult hero.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like him. A couple of goals last game week. Obviously, the penalty. If long may it continue against Manchester United, and I can continue absolutely destroying you in this game of picking differentials. Let's have a look at our teams to finish off today. Starting off with my team, because I don't think it's that interesting, and I probably will roll my transfer, to be perfectly honest. So I have got in goal Henderson against Manchester United. Oof. Henderson.
That's not been very good, is it?
He reminds me of Pickford of last year.
Yeah.
Where he just scored like barely anything each week. And then in defence, I've got the double up of Robertson and Trent, which I think is good. Obviously, I feel really disappointed for the game week 4 scores, but I think they're good.
There's no way they're blank again, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Gavardio against Arsenal is not ideal, but we are where we are. Got Saka, let's go through Eze in midfield, Rodgers, Diogo Jota, Saka, and Smith Rowe. Increased confidence in Smith Rowe, looked better last game week. Jota, again, it's going to depend a little bit on those minutes midweek. I wouldn't be against moving him to Mbeumo.
Who, Jota?
Yeah.
I would be a little bit.
Why? Against Spurs.
Bournemouth at home is just a better fixture, though.
Yeah, maybe. It depends on minutes midweek.
Yeah.
If Jota plays like 75 minutes,
Then yeah.
then
If
I'm
Jota
maybe
plays
thinking
75 minutes, I'm gonna sell him.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And then up front, Haaland, who the armband is currently on him, and Isak. I don't think there's on the bench, by the way, just a bunch of nothing. Got Valdemarson, Harwood Bellis, Muniz, and Johnson. So not looking too good there. I don't really know. The only player I look at through my team that actually needs to be sold is Muniz. I have 2 free transfers already. Muniz is on my bench anyway.
Where would you go?
I don't know. Any transfer move I would make would involve like maybe selling an Arsenal or a Man City player because they play against each other.
Yeah.
Or, maybe selling Isak and trying to find like a short-term punt there rather than doing the Havertz move, which I would rather do. But if I'm wildcarding in 7, and if I commit to wildcarding in 7, then maybe I should sell Isak. But if he's fit, that's not a must. He's not a must-sell player. And outside of that, it's like
Who would you go if you sold Isak today?
maybe even a Mateta. Maybe just a little short-term punt
And
for
then-
wildcarding.
And then what? Hold Mateta for 6?
Yeah. Hold him for 6 and then, wait, a 6 he plays Everton and then 7 he plays Liverpool. So he'd be fine for 5 and 6.
So why don't you do it?
I could do. But I don't know if I'm committed to wildcarding in 7. And if I'm wildcarding in 7, do I just wildcard in 6 instead?
If you do Mateta, you can't get Havertz though.
Well, I can if I wildcard them in 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I don't wildcard, then I don't want to make that move at all and I want to hold Isak.
I mean, personally, if you like Mateta and you know you're going to wildcard,
Well, I don't know I'm going to wildcard. I don't think I need to. I don't think there's anything that wrong with my team.
you haven't got triple Arsenal.
Well, no, but if I move Isak to Havertz with one of the 3 transfers I'll have by next week, and I've got another 2 free transfers to do something else. I can do Gvardiol or Robertson to a defender.
Yeah.
Would I have enough money in the bank to, if I made another couple of transfers, I might even be able to get Henderson up to Raya. So
That would be very tricky.
no, it wouldn't. Not with 3 free transfers, it wouldn't. Isak down to Havertz.
gives you 0.3.
Yeah.
Gvardiol up to Gabriel by the time the prices are changed.
Well, no, I wouldn't do that because I already have Saka. So my triplet would be Havertz, Saka, and Raya.
Oh,
so
yes, sorry.
So I
Raya.
get Henderson. So if I was to get Henderson to Raya, he's one of the wild card, the players you want to remove in a wild card.
Yeah.
If I deal with that with 3 transfers, then that's less reason to wild card.
So you'd have to downgrade heavily one of your defenders.
Yes, I'd have to downgrade someone. That could be Robertson. It could be Gvardiol.
To a 4.5.
Yeah.
Because there's no good 5 million options.
No. So it would have to go all the way down.
Yeah. And who's a good 4.5?
Well, there is no good 4.5s.
So what would you do with your defenders?
Then I take the L.
So then you can't get Raya.
Yeah, but then having Raya, that's the question, is it? Is Henderson and Gvardiol any worse than a 4.5 defender and Raya?
Difficult questions to answer. A couple of game weeks to figure out.
Maybe but again, another option is to just not go for an Arsenal defender, just have a double up of Saka and Havertz and say, I think Robertson, Alexander-Arnold and Gvardiol can cover the Arsenal defenders, which I do think they can score similar to them. That's the other option there.
I couldn't do that.
You couldn't? It'd be a little worrying.
No Arsenal defender. People are going to start doubling up. That's like 10 points against every single time they keep a clean sheet.
Only if Robertson, Trent and Gvardiol bottle it and fail, which is there's no real reason to suggest they would. But anyway, I'm in an absolute massive pickle right now. It's frustrating when you have a bad game week, you had a bad couple of game weeks, but actually you just look at your team logically and there's nothing really too wrong with it. Like, what do you do? So when in doubt, do nothing. I probably will end up rolling unless I can think of something that I want to do, or, midweek, injury issues, blah, blah, blah. By the way, Saka's fine. He just had cramp. So I don't know why
Saka's
he's...
always fine.
Yeah.
Saka, they should just permanently flag Saka
Yeah.
to just avoid this conversation.
Or permanently not flag him.
Oh, yes, that would also work.
And I think Isak will be fine as well, but if he's not, a transfer will be made. Right, on to your team. Go for it.
So I have the greatest player ever in goal, David Raya. He's 2 points off Saka, by the way.
Madness. It's the saves that he's making.
It's just crazy.
Incredible. And bonus.
Yeah, another 9 pointer this game week. In defense, I've got Gvardiol, I've got Munoz, and I've got Rico Lewis. In midfield, I've got Gordon. I shouldn't have Rodgers. I should have Smith Rowe there. So in midfield, I've got Gordon, Smith Rowe, Saka, and Jota. And then finally up front, I've got Haaland, Solanke, and Isak. On the bench, I've got Lumley, Rodgers, Hall, and Johnson. Hall's an interesting one because if he starts, that would be very nice. But I can't risk actually playing him.
But even if he does play, like, what are you expecting from Newcastle defensively?
I mean, Fulham, I'd expect more than what I would from Munoz to United if he started.
That's fair.
So
Actually, is that fair? I don't know. Because United do have some vulnerabilities in the wider areas, and it is often Munoz providing that width, particularly if Nketiah is going to start again.
Munoz has just been so disappointing.
He really
He's
has.
just been so disappointing.
Yeah.
So, you're kind of starting without a clean sheet, basically. So you're just praying for an attack in return. I don't know. It's tricky. I think my bigger problem is the fact that I've got Gvardiol and Rico Lewis, and I think again we could see only one of them start. Champions League is going to be very telling. If, for example, Rico Lewis starts Champions League, I might be forced to sell him.
Yeah, but then again, where do you go? Because there's no good 4.5, so you may as well just keep him.
That's what. So my current thinking is I can afford Hall to Aina.
Okay.
4.4 to 4.4. I can also afford the other Forest guy that scored that. He doesn't score headers, but he looks like he can score headers.
Yeah, Milinkovic.
Is he 4.0?
4.5. Milinkovic.
So I can't afford
Yeah.
it. Well, I've got 3 free transfers though, so I could. There's a lot of things I could do here, right? I could go Gordon to Mbermo, and that would give me budget to actually uplift someone. I could go Gvardiol down to someone like Pedro Porro. I could do Solanke down to someone. There's a lot that can be done. So I'm this rolling transfer lock puts you in more and more of a confused position because now there's so many routes open for me. But I think I'm just gonna roll again, and I think I'm gonna end up eating a big red arrow this week.
Yeah.
Which will actually push me to make all 4 of my transfers next week.
Yeah.
I just prefer to make my transfers in Game Week 6 at the moment.
But if like, yeah, I 100% agree with that, by the way. Like, there's so many big swings happening in 6 that is the priority time to save the transfers for. And I think, to be fair, you say you're going to take an L in Game Week 5, but, like, if everyone's taking an L, then are you really
Well, not everyone's going to take an L, right?
It's only Salah owners who will feel super confident.
Salah owners will feel better.
I guess you have no Liverpool defence.
I've got 2 Man City defenders who could both not start, and even if they do, they probably won't keep a clean sheet. I'm not going to get bailed out by Raya again.
You know what? If it's a 0-0 and that is something that happens between, then you're actually looking pretty good.
If they start.
Yeah, okay. And then it also means Saka and Haaland will be blanking.
Correct. So I've got no captain points.
Yeah.
So I've got too many players in that fixture. I've got 5 players in that fixture.
That is a lot.
Yeah, and it's not like it's all attackers.
Yeah.
I've got players which means at least 3 of my players are gonna blank.
Yeah.
Most likely. So it's tricky. And then around that, I've got Solanke, little faith, Isak, little faith, Diogo Jota, hopeful, Emil Smith Rowe, hopeful, Gordon, little faith.
But it's the problem. You have little faith in players, but there's no players that look like you should have a lot of faith in them at the moment.
I want Watkins in my team. I want Cole Palmer in my team.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's just like FOMO's talking because Palmer's only returned in 1 game. But
2.
1.
2 games.
Which other game did he return in?
He got an assist in the Game Week 3, didn't he?
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's not very much compared to like what some of these other big hitters have been scoring.
Yeah. It's interesting. If I get a green arrow this week, then there's something wrong with the game. that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I got a red arrow in Game Week 4, and I think there's something wrong with the game there because my team looked brilliant for Game Week 4.
It's easier to predict a red arrow than a green arrow.
That's true. That is very true. Yeah. Okay, so we're both in the same situation. We don't really know what to do. The only player you want is Watkins, it seems.
I think the question. I think the thing is, if I hate my team so much and I have 3 transfers, I should just change it.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's dawned on me.
You still do have the option to just wildcard in 6. If you just removed like some of your City players or Arsenal players for this week and then wildcard in 6 to bring those Arsenal players back in, you could get Palmer and Watkins in your team with your 3 transfers. You'd have to downgrade Gvardiol to like a 4.5, but that would allow you to do Saka to Palmer and Isak to Watkins, right? So you could do it.
I wouldn't lose Saka though.
What, even against City? If you were going to wildcard him back in 6?
Oh.
So if you were to say, okay, I'm going to wildcard in 6
and sell Saka now,
that would give you more options to not take the L in this week.
I get you.
But how valuable is that wildcard compared to 1 game week?
But then,
because you would be wildcarding to improve this week only.
I'd be losing all my free transfers that I've collected
and that
for 1 game week just to wildcard and completely change everything.
Yeah.
Whereas if I roll now and then wildcard, I would still come out of it with 4 or 5 free transfers.
When you say it like that, it's my idea there was pretty stupid. I think it is. No, I think you're right. I think you just got to take the L this week.
Yeah, I think
and say, yeah, okay, I'm a little bit further back, but the season is 38 game weeks long, and by taking an L this week, I'm in a huge advantage. Keep the wild card, have all these free transfers, which will be a good thing.
Yeah. Plus, I haven't seen anyone with 4 free transfers, so I think that would be cool.
Yeah, no, neither have I. Yeah. No, fair play. That'd be very nice. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure we're well over an hour.
Yeah, probably. And my parking expires in 12 minutes. I'm going to get a ticket. So, we'll wrap things up there, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Stick to FPL. If you did enjoy, make sure you do drop a like, rating, subscribe. It all really, really helps so much. And now we go to Sim to ask him for any final thoughts. He hates this moment every week, and that's why we ask him.
Let me know in the comments if you knew that both geese and flamingos could fly.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching us today.
Guys, remember, be a goose. See you later.
Be a goose. I love that. All right.